Now that goes against everything that you've been taught your whole life. Everything you've been taught your whole life. You've been taught that you think with your mind. But in the Quran, it talks about what the mind does. Think about some of the things the Quran says about the mind. Jesus said, let us forget the body. He said, let us forget the flesh and go with mind. And go with mind. So therefore, he is identifying that the mind is a vehicle that we could use to transcend boundaries, that we could use to transcend time and space. So when the Prophet Muhammad, he talked about going from Mecca to Jerusalem and back to Mecca in one night, the night's journey. How did he travel? He said he traveled on an animal called Barak, and this animal in one stride, he moves as far as his eyes could see at the speed of thought. At the speed of thought, he was traveling with the mind. You understand what I'm saying? What else did he say about the mind? He said, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind. So he's telling us that there is a workshop in the mind. And he's saying where we build up thought. He said where things are made of thought and where we build up character. Now he's telling us what we're supposed to be doing in the workshop, but that's not what you have to do because your mind is yours. You can change it when you want to. Islam. Paradigm Shift in the podcast. The Sheik Maurice Pennington Beta Master Student. I'm here with the Sage, Sheik Clarence Prather. It is always an honor to be around this Mo. Goodness gracious. Islam.
Thank you, Sheik.
Islam. Peace.
Praise Allah, Mo. Praise Almighty God Allah. It's an honor to be around you as well, Mo. Praising Almighty God Allah, honoring the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honoring this podcast, honoring all those that are listening. I understand that your topic tonight is powering the future through our young Moorish American children. Is that right?
Absolutely, wow. Mo. That's what we working on right now, Mo.
Wow, Mo. You're talking about a task, Mo. You're talking about a task. A task that can be done, but it's going to be a task because anytime you talk about uplifting fallen humanity, there's a reason why our people are falling. There's a reason why they're in the condition that they're in. And anytime we talk about taking on the Prophet's work of uplifting fallen humanity, we are challenging. We are saying Allah is stronger than the God of the world. And when you say that Allah is stronger than the God of the world, this God of this material world is accepting our challenge.
Islam.
And it's a challenge to life or to death. The life is when you win, when you and I live the way we're supposed to live according to what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches. Live according to that Quran. Live according to that message that we deliver so wonderfully, so eloquently when we speak about the Prophet. When we live according to those principles, when we uplift our women, when we uplift our children, we can win that challenge. But this God of the world is strong. And I think it's in chapter 2, it said, his lessons, I think it's chapter 3, the unity of life. And then it goes on to explain about the higher self and the lower self. When you challenge this lower self, when the higher self challenge the lower self, and our children are at stake, we have to be living right. We have to be living in the protection of our Father, God Almighty Allah, that He will help us to fight our fight and win the battle that's required to save our children. And that can only be done if we ourselves are living right.
Islam.
Our children have answered the call. You were just telling about the night flight in your introduction. You're talking about the night flight. And in that story, I'm quite sure you know that as Prophet Muhammad was taking an aerial flight, someone asked him, why did he descend here? Why did he descend there? Why did he answer this call? And the call was, if he'd have answered the voice of one of the voices that was calling him, that the world would have been lost back, to idolatry. And see, this is what's happening amongst our young people. Our young people have answered that call. And we have got to show that that call was a call for them to sacrifice their life. And we have got to show them in how we live, how we treat our wives, how we treat our women, how we treat one another. We have got to show them as a great example that Allah is greater.
Islam.
You know, because they have answered that call. They're doing everything that that master wants them to do. Everything. Our women, our young men are doing everything that the God of the world wants them to do. So in order for us to win them back, we have got to live like God men and God women. We have got to be morally strong, physically strong, more ethically strong, religiously strong, strong in the faith of Allah, the Prophet, the Moorish Americans of America, as well as in ourselves, to go out there amongst that devil and challenge him for your child, because that's your child, my child, and we can walk out there in that world. Our child is right there in the world, and we can try to bring them out, and Satan will have, or the devil of the world, the God of the world, will have them fighting us, struggling to stay. So this is what we're talking about when you're talking about uplifting our children as well as uplifting fallen humanity. It's a struggle. It's something that we have to undergo. It is something that we have to do. Hi, baby. This is something we have got to do. Make no mistake about it. Because they have answered that call, and the call to our women, I think it's in the Quran, where it says, when sweet enticement, soft words, and tell the brothers the allurements of the world, they have answered these calls. And it's giving them what they want, what they think they want, but not giving them what they need, for which is long life, peaceful life, a wealthy life, a healthy life. It's not giving them. So when you talk about going and getting our Moorish children, we, Sheik, you, I, all of us have to be morally strong. It takes strong men and women to go amongst devils, to go amongst demons, and tell them that after our children have been out there doing what they've been doing, our little sisters and little baby girls been doing what they've been doing, he's saying that he got a right to them as well. They have been listening to me. They have did some things that they shouldn't have done, and they got a right to be in the world. And he's going to kill. He's going to slander. He's going to demonstrate lewdness to put you where it put you in your place to go get our people. That's right, Brother Parker Hill. We do need upright, fearless, and independent brothers and sisters. You have to be upright. This is not just a cliche. What I'm saying is just not a cliche, a sound bite, or something to be a part of the conversation, my brothers. I don't mean to be disrespectful by no means, but I'm saying we say these things, and then we have our people, our children at stake, and then somehow or another we buckle under the knee. I went out there in the world, and I see all these beautiful naked women, and I got to have me, not one, I got to have me 4, 5 of them. Can't take care one, but I'm going to try my best to get me 4, 5 of them. And don't realize all the sacrifices I'm going to make trying to get 4, 5 of these women when I can't even take care of one. We don't realize the sacrifice we make when we go to our brothers and sisters, our brothers, for example, and they're trying to be industrious, and we don't help them. We don't assist them. We don't support them. We'll go to the Chinaman. We'll go to that brother across the street. We'll go to everybody else, just like they're doing with the Moorish Americans. They're going everywhere else But coming to the Moorish Science Temple of America, when and we all should know that this is where the Moorish Science Temple, where they should be, so we can uplift and get somewhere. Because there's no one else is going to do the work that you and I, Sheik Pennington Bey, are going to do. No one else is going to make the sacrifice. The will. No one else is going to have the will to sacrifice their life, their way of life, whatever they're doing. They got these menial jobs that can't get away to come and learn the lesson that they need to learn. They got these menial housing where they're living at. They got all this menial stuff of the world that Satan has for them, and they won't realize, they can't realize, they don't realize that it's of the world and it's not going to afford them anything.
Islam. You know something. See, because you said a lot, and I keep hearing when you talk about the God of this world, right? You know something. I remember a few Sunday schools back, I was talking about this during Sunday school. The topic came up. We going right through the prophets 101s, and the prophet asked us a question. He said, "Was Satan to be bound?" And the answer is that Satan was to be bound in part. All right. And I told him, I say, man, here it is. This joker is bound, even if he bound in part, and he's still giving us all we can handle. You understand what I'm saying? If he bound, Sheik, and he's still giving us all we can handle. All right. And you know, so when you said that, it's just like, wow, you know.
Well, we got to realize, we and I got to realize just what you said, you know, when we out there uplifting up people, because we are of only a handful. When he says that he have legions, meaning that there are many, he has everything. Every time you overcome a situation, a problem, we all know these human things that take place in our life. Whenever we overcome the small thing, a multitude of other things pile in on us. And it's just like people. We overcome one situation, and just like a ripple in the water, come on us and just wipes us out. But we got to do what just Parker Hill just said. We got to stand upright. We got to stand upright, no matter what comes, because it also in the Quran, I think the prophet talks about the brother that walked through the battle of legions and put death aside, terror. I think it's in the Quran somewhere. And he walks in and he remains forever. This is what we got to do. We got to stay upright, no matter, don't let nothing bend us over. Nothing but a prayer to Allah is supposed to bend you and I over. This is what he means when he say we are to be upright. Nothing bend us over. I don't care what it is, who it is, how much of it that it is.
Islam.
And as a result, we have a chance to show our children, number one, that we do love them.
That's right.
Number two, that the world has kidnapped them, stole them, and backslide them out of the home, out of your care. Because for 18, 19, 20 years, you young child, you young brother, young sister, were in my care. You relied on me. You came to me. Now all of a sudden, as my parents used to say, you smell yourself. Now you don't want. Now you don't want to listen. And as a result, something has to. This is the worst part, Mo. Something has to spank them back into listening. And next thing, that means that they got caught up in the Mo. Forgive me for saying it like this. Got caught up in the drug world. You know, going to jail. Yeah. But Mo, I mean, I've seen the biggest, baddest people. You know, I've seen them cry. You know, when they come through them institutions. I'm quite sure you have too. Seeing them big old men, man, out here in the world, you can't tell them nothing. They got the gun, they got the knives, they got the freedom, they got all of this stuff, and they out here, they're bad. But I've seen them cry. I've gone to visit them. My wife has gone to visit them, and they be up in those places crying like big babies, 50, 70, 40, 35, 40-year-old baby. And so, I mean, this to tell them something, and it does. But in the meantime, to stop them from getting to that point, we have got to have the will to stand up, to stay upright. Like Parker Hill was just saying, we have got to have the will to stand up,
Islam.
and bring our children out of that mess, regardless of who. And I'm going to say this as long as I'm on this show tonight, Sheik, I'm going to be saying this, man. You know, we have got to stand upright. We have got to be moral. You know, we have got to be upright. We have got to be in the protection of Allah. That when we go out here amongst these brothers and sisters, you know, they're going to hear us, and we're not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, and I pray that you don't be, because the record reflects. I'm going to use Jesus in the Piscean record. He reflected some has to be snatched.
Mm.
Some going to come willingly. Some going to come if you ask him a lot of time. But then there's some that has to be snatched. I was one of those ones that had to be snatched, because Grand Sheik Timothy Dingley grabbed me up in my collar and put me up off the floor and put me against the wall, shaking this devil out of me, man, because this is what we have to do. A lot of us are going to have to do this, get our babies out of that mess out there. And this is what Parker Hill meant when he said upright. Upright, because that's the master word for going out there to get our babies, our children more, you know, and we can't do it no other way, man. You know, it's no other way. We got Allah, but Allah is being challenged. We can learn this story from the story of Pharaoh and Moses.
And Moses,
you know, all the Pharaoh challenge. I don't know no Jehovah. I don't know your God. I'm Pharaoh. I'm God. You know, I'm eating every day. I got all these great empires and people tell me come and go. Well, I'm God. I don't know no God that I got to tell you. So he's challenging Moses that is sent by Jehovah. And then Moses went out there upright. But Parker Hill just said, Brother Parker, I don't know if it's Sheik, but what is it? Upright. And he stood where he was supposed to stand, upright, fearless. And he had nobody but that brother Aaron with him and his staff. It's all he had was his brother
stick.
Aaron.
Hey, Mo, you know what? It's not strange. You know, that was part of the lesson today in Sunday school.
Oh, well, praise Allah, Mo. Okay.
That's right now that's brother Mike Parker Hill. And you will meet that Mo. That's a good Mo.
Praise Allah, Mo.
Meet that Mo. And yeah.
But Mo, that's what we need to go get our children. Not only that, but we have, you know, when we go get them, we have to have some place to bring them. First of all, we got to have their home. They got to feel secure in their home, in their biological home. Mother and daddy got when they got to argue, fight, and have differences, they got to go in the next room or down the street and argue and fight instead of destroying the peace of those children when they're in the home. Let them witness.
See, listen, see. It's like you read. It's like you in tune, Mo. You in tune. You picking it right up off of the ethers, Mo. Because this is what we've been demonstrating and dealing with lately. You know, we're trying to communicate how important it is to protect the peace of these babies, Mo. I mean, like, we got to protect their peace, Mo, because one thing about it, there comes a time when they walk outside of these doors and they want to start to do what they seen you do. See, now we telling them while they're in the house that we doing this thing that they not supposed to be doing. And while they in front of us for a little while, they don't do it. But as soon as they get out there, because I was that same young child. I mean, we all had that same experience. You know, my mom and my dad, but my dad wasn't home much, but my mom and, you know, the older people around me, they cussed and fussed and kicked up dust and then told me don't do it. And while I was in the house, I would mind them because I didn't want to get my tail kicked, right? But as soon as I got outside of their sight, I went to cussing and fussing and kicking up dust. You understand me? Because you know, we fail to understand that these children are truly sponges. You
Wow.
understand me? And they soaking up everything, whatever we demonstrate. And not only that, not only is they soaking it up with their five senses though, but they also sucking it up into their soul. And that's the part that is either a blessing or a curse. You know, when we start to communicate, and these children are reaching out with their hearts and their minds, that's being shaped and formed. I remember, Mo. Like, see, I remember, and I also remember myself sitting down, going back through my memory, trying to figure out, well, how did I end up here? You know, and I think, you know, for a little while, I went right back to the streets and, talked about with the things that I did in the streets. Okay. But then it got back to the things that I experienced at home when I was just a little child, not even participating in it, but watching it. All right. This is why the things that you saying when you talk about we being upright, independent, and fearless, because I know that what you do, you don't do it for you. You did it for you in the beginning. I did it for me in the beginning, but now it's no longer. I realize that it's not even about me. It's about the unity of life.
That's right.
It's about this membership, this race. This is what it's about. So thinking forward, I look at the young people today, because for a while I didn't see them. I didn't see them, Sheik. You know where I was at. So I wasn't seeing. I was hearing about it, and I was seeing them. When they found their way to where I was, and I prayed a lot. Please give me the opportunity to go and try to work with and work on these individuals before they get to this point, right? So Allah bless us, and now we here, and like you said, it's a heck of a job that we got to do. But I think, and you can tell me if you agree, even more important than just getting these young people inside of these Sunday schools and teaching them these lessons is allowing for them to see these lessons and the work that they have done on us. All right. Especially for me, like with my family, the people around me, they, and the people around you, all of us, with our families, our friends, the people who knew us growing up in our communities, they have seen a change. So they can measure by the level and say, man, this worked because I see it working. I see it working. For me, that's important.
Well, see, to start for a child, these brothers and sisters, especially the ones that are in the world, answer to the world, they have to, first thing that they're going to come to are the mother. And the record reflects, dear mother, humbling her to the point that no matter what she go through, what I put her through, what the world put her through, what the job put her through, dear mother, teach the lessons of life to your little ones.
That's right.
Teach them, not your experiences, not all the things that you hear that were going on in the house. They're going to learn them, like you said, when they get outside. But teach them in the house. And the fathers have got to set their house in order. And when they set their house in order, they'll be secure. We all need security. They will be secure. Our children will be secured. And when you say, come, let us come and go to the Moorish Temple of America, they will beat you there. And when they get there, don't treat them like they're children. Put them to work. After you know that the house you're in order, your officials are in order, the members in the temple are in order. Let them know that the ground that they stand on is holy ground. It's not about all that I've gone through, what I'm going through. It's not about you at all. It's about all of us. And we have got to realize and become accountable for the things we say on holy ground. People don't realize the damage they do to themselves. And if they did, they would stop doing it. You have an I right at the top of all of our literature. And that I symbolizes Allah that sees all, knows all, is all. We don't realize that we're not getting away. And when we rob people of the faith in Allah, they come in there with a belief. I'm going to go because I have a belief that this is where I should be. We don't even let them get to the faith. We arguing and fighting. I'm mad at you about something. You mad at me. And both of us mad at that brother right there for something. And therefore the people turn around and leave out the temple. And it's hard as 4 worlds getting them back. But that's how this has to be done. I'm the master. I am the master in my house. When I go to any of my temples, Lord, I'm not bragging, I'm not anything of that nature. I'm just telling you, I don't tolerate a lot. And the membership knows. My household knows. My wife in my household knows. I am the boss. The buck stops with me. And as a result, people can come in here, people can come into the temple, and they can feel safe. They can feel at home. They can even take the shoes off. And this is where we need to be with our children. This is we need to make them comfortable, because many children will come to you after they had a situation at home, they had a situation in the street. They'll come to you because you have given them some peace. And their parents may not know anything about it, but you have rendered them peace, some peace of mind. And as a result, you have a chance to keep them on the straight and narrow. But if you're out of order, if I'm out of order, if we're out of order, then the next generation of our people are going to be out of order, and they're going to go out there and they're going to stumble and they're going to fall. And when they fall, they're going to fall right where you fell, Mo. You know, you fell for however long you fell in that hole, you know, until you were able to get bigger, grow stronger, and climb up out of walls. You know, and this is what we have to do, Mo. You know, we have to make secure places. You got to tell those sisters in the temple, sister, no matter what you're going through, provide, take care of your child. That brother ain't acting right, provide, take care of your child. Brother, and you get in the brother's face, Mo, you ain't taking care, Mo, you ain't doing right by the sister, Mo, you're not gonna go nowhere, Mo, you're not gonna have no blessing. No blessing. Allah got the woman in his arms, man. The prophet has woman, humanity, in his arm, because that's what's going to sustain, nourish, sustain, and produce our nation, our women. But we abuse them. And therefore our children get abused. We can start now. It's never too late, Sheik. No matter how, like I said, Allah, the prophet has the woman in his hand as a symbol of humanity. Still pick her up, and she could be more valuable to a woman that's never seen, never cried, had a bad day in her whole life. That's just how precious our women are. That's just how much they are to us. And we should be treating them just like that. Like they are life, Mo. And as a result, Mo, in the home, and I'm hoping that this is not don't sound intellectual, Mo, because I'm serious about what I say. You know, I'm not just trying to expound something.
Well, we know. we know seriously.
I'm trying to tell the brothers to treat these women like a blessing sent from heaven. I'm trying to tell the brother. I'm also trying to tell the brother, all you need is one. One woman, a happy life. 2 women, 1 man, a messed up life. 3 women and 1 man, no life. Nothing's going to produce from it. You know, and this is what we need to know to strengthen our people. Because right now, and she let me whisper this part to you. You know what I'm talking about, Mo. You were out there. You thought that we thought that we were doing something, man. You know, but we got to teach our young brothers. We don't need hope. We don't need all that confusion. We can take one and build. You can take one woman and build, man, whatever it is that you so desire to build. Fix that suddenly, and as a result, you can build. And this is what the young brothers need to know. And praise Allah, Mo. Praise Allah. Mo, we can get our babies, but we have to be strong. We have to be upright to go out there and get them, Mo. Because I got a couple of sheiks down here, and I think you met her when you came down here. Sheik Michael Johnson Bey, Sheik Alexander Prather, Sheik Carter Bey. Mo, I don't. Mo, these are young brothers. These are young. They don't sit around the temple and work. Mo, I send them out into the valley of the dry bone. They go. You got something to say about Moorish science and Islam? Mo, there's some 4 brothers right there on the corner, standing right there, smoking on that stuff. That's where you should be talking to that.
Islam.
And when I see a brother out there with a sister, I've sent my wife out there in that valley, Mo. Go out there, help that brother with that sister. Somebody make an impression. Somebody influence them to do what's right. That's their job. They're not going to sit around me and do nothing without people out there crying.
Islam.
You know, I've had sisters, Mo, in the street, literally amongst them Asian addicts, crying, save my baby, help my baby. Because their mothers, they're not listening. Satan has closed their ears to the cries of their own mothers, their own parents, their grandmothers. They talk about, I love my grandmother, I love my mother, but they have closed, Satan has closed their ears. So I've had queens and sheikesses out there demonstrating, crying in the wilderness for our babies. And if these brothers hear this, and man, we had a couple movements where people coming to the temple. We had a couple, man. I honestly tell you no lie, Mo. They come into the temple because they don't know nothing else. Nobody's out there telling them. We out there being slick, looking good, and telling them what they should be doing, but we don't let them know we don't have them become conscious.
That's right.
Fully conscious of what it is that they are doing at funerals. When I go to children's funeral, Mo, children, man, Mo, look, I just put it on. After I put down the degree of divine ministry, Mo, I put it on the children. My whole attention is on the children, the young boys and girls there. You know.
Islam, Sheik, I want to share something with you.
Share it, Mo.
When I was a young person, right, a real young person, I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I had gotten into some trouble, and the judge they was going, you know how they do, they was getting ready to send me away, and it was a group of brothers. They had started a program, right? It was called UDIS. I don't remember what it stood for, but whatever, I don't remember, because I didn't participate in it at all. That's what I'm getting at. But these brothers, one of these brothers, I'll never forget. I see his face right now, clear as day. He stood up in that courtroom. He told the judge, he said, "Excuse me, Your Honor, we start a nonprofit organization. This is the name of it. It's called UDIS. It's focused on taking young men just like this one in front of you right now, and showing them a better way and teaching them how to change their life, give them some direction." He said, "If you would trust us, instead of sentencing him and sending him, down the road, if you would just give him to us for that amount of time."
Wow.
And he broke it down to the judge, and the judge looked at him, and the judge sent me home on this program. Okay. And my mother was there with me. That was one of the too many times that I had my mother in that type of situation.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm getting. This is what it's all getting to. So I went to the program one time. See,
you're breaking up on me, Sheik.
Huh? Okay. I went
up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, sir.
Islam. Let me see what's going on here.
Can
you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
It's quite all right, Mo.
Okay, so the second time, my mom, she drove me to this program. I walked in like I was gonna go in the door, and I'm gonna double back and leave because I didn't plan
You're
on
breaking up
going.
again, Sheik.
Okay, hey, I'm sorry.
You're breaking up again.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Mic
Nothing is
check.
coming through.
Can you hear me?
Nothing is coming through.
The mic is on. You can't hear me?
Okay, nothing is coming through.
I think that's on your end.
Nothing.
I think that's on your end, Sheik.
Okay, well,
Okay,
more,
I'm gonna ask the listeners if you can hear me, if you can hear me, if you can hear me, put a 7 in the chat, y'all. If y'all hear me, put a 7 in the chat. Ain't no 7s. I don't think y'all.
I can hear you
Can
now, Mo, but I wasn't a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So like I said, I was finna get ready to double back and lead the program. And my mom, she came and she told me, go to the program or whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't gotta go, the judge just sitting down and paying attention. And the guys heard me and my mom having this conversation. They came outside, and my mom did exactly what you just said. My mom started crying and she started begging. And she was like, please, I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what to say to him. She was like, please, can y'all do something? Please, please, please. And I don't know, man, that doggone lower self got me so bad, I looked at my mother and I felt so bad that, her plea, it touched me. I felt bad about it. But at the same time, I took off and just started running, I just took off and I started running. So not only do I know what you're talking about, I mean, I have been that child who had his mother out there begging for somebody to say something or do something because she didn't know what to do. You understand me? And I also was the child now, because I'm telling you this whole time while I was doing this, that I never wanted to be in the street, I never wanted to be a gangbanger. I never wanted to be a drug dealer. You understand? I didn't. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to do something. I didn't know quite what I wanted to do. It wasn't defined, I didn't find out what I wanted to do until I seen somebody do it, which this is what I want to do. Not podcasts, but what we do. You understand me? When I first went into that temple, when I seen the Moors in that temple doing what they do, I said, that's what I want to do. But when I was little, I knew I wanted to do something, didn't know what it was. I got out there in them streets. I started hanging out with guys until it just became habit. All right. It became what I thought was the only thing I knew, So I understand this, and this is what I remember. So I guess that's why I don't have a hard time communicating to these young people nowadays, because I understand them. For one, I personally understand them. Because I remember when I was down. I didn't come into the Moorish Temple of America until I was 28 years old, 27 years old. So by the time I came into the Moorish Temple of America, I had been living that same life that they live in now, But I also was suffering the consequences that, the stuff that come with it. And that was like you were saying earlier, it's not until something, till you get in trouble. I tell people all the time, life chased me into the temple. It chased me with barking vicious dogs. Like, but yes,
sound like you have the key to the awakening of our children, Mo. Sound like you have the key. And we just need to trust in Allah enough to go into that valley and talk to our brothers, Mo. And while you're down there talking, you can be talking in one ear and 15 or 20 other going to be talking into the other ear. But you got to stay there and make that example, Mo. You got to stay there and literally drag our children out of that muck that they are in. Because I came into the Moorish Temple similar to what you just said. And I told you, and it was Timothy Dingalil that grabbed me up in my collar, man, and shook the four worlds out of me. And I learned the lesson. Yeah, Mo. And I learned
Yeah,
the
but what's
lesson.
the 4 worlds? Oh
Mo,
no,
hatred,
go break
slander,
that down for the people, man. What's the
hatred, slander, the world of hatred, slander, lewd,
uh-huh.
murder, theft, everything that was harming me and
That's
all of my
right.
people, Mo. That was all the world that I was living in. One at a time, he shook them out of me, man. I mean, and they said shaking the devil out of you. And that's what he did, Mo. He literally shook the devil out of me. And I used to work in the Department of Juvenile Justice here in Maryland. And I learned back there then, I used to tell women when their children came in there to, when they go into the courtroom, to plead for their children, because the POs and everybody that was the court clerk, people that work in the courthouse, they were designed to send them to jail, and that's all it was designed to do. And I used to tell them to go in there and cry. And it was only one sister. I got one that sticks out in my mind. I think about her all the time, even now. She, her son was down there for a hideous crime, and she did everything but cry. Everything she raised and talked and raised her voice, and he got the time that they were going to give him. Then she goes out in the courtroom, out in the hallway, and started boo-hooing and crying. And I told her, I literally almost forced her. Now I'm a officer of the court now,
Right.
and I'm telling her to go back in there, cry, carry this crying in there, carry this crying in there. She out in the hall crying, but in there when it's time to cry, she got a dry face and just gets saying everything else. So Mo, I have no problem. These women, my wife can tell you, any of them sisters that you saw, any of them, I have no problem sending them out there, especially if I see a sister that needs some help. Go out. That's our job, man. It's what it say. How did the record go? The will. If you got the will, and you can make the sacrifice, or you're not afraid of making the sacrifice, give it. Make that sacrifice, and you might save a soul. This is why this is why the record say that Allah loves those that make a sacrifice. That will protect, will stand up for a brother or a sister. Because this is what we have to do, Sheik. You, all of us have to stand up for our brothers out there, because that world is this year, Mo, this summer is not gonna be any better for our children, man. And especially because you and I are not out there. We're not out there right now. Right now we're talking on this podcast when actually we should be out there in the malls, out there where they all gathering at, just to throw a monkey wrench in their stuff, because they all are familiar with Moorish. They all are familiar with Islam. They all of them are come to hate Jesus Christ, and as a result, that's an edge for us, Mo. That's an edge, because they know what their parents taught them all these years is a lie. They're hurt, number one, from that. Then you come make sense to them of the lie that they've been told all their life. That their parents didn't know, and they only told you what they knew. You make sense of it to them. That's an edge to bring them closer from that mess and closer to what you want, Mo.
You know
These are some.
something?
Go ahead, Mo.
Something that you just said, right? Because you bring up you know, so many of our young people spend so much time, watching podcasts. They watching these podcasts, they watching the feeds and stuff on their social media platforms and stuff. And this is where they receive what they think is the knowing that they have. They think, hey, this is where I learn. I learned and watch these podcasts and stuff. And if you what I do, because I podcast, I'll go and I'll, see what's the most popular podcast, what they talking about, what's the subject matter. And even when you find the ones that, the they say that they talking about the truth, and they say that they talking about the spiritual sides of life, and that, this, that, and the third. But Mo is nasty, Mo. And then, when I talk to these young people, this is what they're giving you back. This is what they have adopted for the truth. So I say that to say this, see, you absolutely right. And just like you said, you shared with me, you know, that you tired because you've been out working. Right? You've been out working.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Islam. This is what we do. See, you understand me? So when we come back and we doing this it's a segment. It's a portion of that same population that we need to reach. That's listening. You know, they're going to go even if they not sitting here right now watching, they're going to come back later and go into their search engine, especially when they start to contemplate change. Because that's what happened to me. I started to desire something different. You know, I was like, man, you know what I'm doing, this ain't working. This is what I'm doing. And you know what I did though? I said, well, where do I turn? You know, and it just so happened it was some Moorish Temple of America, because the Moors were the only ones who I had heard, you know, saying things that resonated with me. You know, it didn't resonate at the time when they were saying it. You know, so I don't think that we wasting our time.
Well, I
We're not
appreciate
wasting our time.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm not knocking no communication of this knowledge. More, that's not what I meant to do. But it's the later, sitting there now, come back later. What has always bothered me, because you came back later, and it's been, as you have told me, it's been some time. That later was too long in between, you know. And this is where physically going out there talking with these children, physically being there, you know, what the difference is going to be made, man. I understand, and I'm not knocking. Please don't think that I am, because that's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying, how do you say, boots on the ground? That's what we need, Mo. We need people out there, and I mean not out there just to look good or to put them down or even to influence them to come your way, but just to make a correction, just to make the correction. And once you can see one. Let's say you got 5 brothers and sisters out there. One can handle the one that really want to get out of it. Another can take on the one that's frowning. Another one can take on the one that's really going to buck and get in your face and deny you. You have all of those elements. Because if you let every one of those elements go, then the one that's really don't want nothing to do with it, he's going to convince the other that slightly wants to come this way to not go at all. And this is what I mean by boots on the ground. And I'm like I said, this is what we need to do. You know, we need to be out there, not just for a minute or for an hour, but for hours.
Yes.
You know, hours. And just talk to them, making them guilty about what they're drinking and what they're doing. I have literally gone to people's home and taken their children to where they were to try to shame them. Oh, I didn't know you were over here. Hey, Daddy, I didn't know you were over. You know, and it brought them around and made them conscious of their responsibility. I've did numerous things that I pray Allah's guidance on to help my brothers and sisters come out the snare, the web, the hideous, sticky, binding web, satanic web that they find themselves in, man. And this is what we've got to do, not only in podcast, because when I first started searching and brought you up, man, you got over 200 some shows, I guess what you call them. I mean, I'm saying, wow, 200 some shows. Now, my son, everybody don't know that, Sheik. You know, everybody don't know that, man. And they don't take enough time, because, let me say this, Mo, please. Let me say this. Don't be offended. You listeners, don't be offended. Ain't enough tail being shook on here. Ain't enough cussing on here. Ain't enough what they like. Ain't enough of that on here, because Satan got that influence in them, Mo. They don't want to look at nothing pure and clean, because they think it's going to make them pure and clean. Sheik got some, forgive me, sisters, I don't mean to offend you, but no mean. But they look on here and they see somebody doing something with the body, or they're going to spend 5 or 10 minutes looking at that, you know. But somebody on here trying to talk some sense, they don't want to hear. You know, they don't
want to hear. And that's the thing too, right? That's something else. Like, cause so I check out some of these guys on these, you know, women too. And Mo, if you hear the cussing, the language that they be using while they talking about the great God of the universe, Allah. or Jehovah or whatever they call it, but they just cussing and fussing up a storm. And
Yeah,
I
man.
mean up a storm. And I say to myself, how do you even associate this vulgar, profane stuff with religion?
Mo, I'm sitting here right now laughing to keep from you seeing my ugly face crying when you talk about the condition of our people, Mo. When you see me laugh, it's only because I don't want you to see me cry. When you think about the condition that our people are in out there, and we have the answer sheet. We know their condition. We know. You just just spoke on their condition. We got to get out there. We have got to get out there. I have my Alex. He goes out there and get the young people, but Mo, he'll call me, Dad. You busy? He said, Big Mo, you busy? I said, No. What's up? Come on over. I got somebody's father I want you to speak to. He a big preacher in the church, or he this in the church. Man, I can't get my clothes on fast enough. But that's how we have to do it, Mo. People with feet on the ground, and you at a moment's notice being ready to go into battle, Mo. And that's the way I carry it, man. And if I can't make it, I'll find some sheep that I know can handle the job, do the job, and get them to go out there and work with the people, Mo. That's what we need to be, sheep. Foot on the ground, man. And all the work that I can't do because I'm not as young as I want to do, I am, but I want to do the work. Man, I got young people. I got you now. That's all the muscles you got, man, that I'm going to use up, getting this work
It's
done. And more, and that's the way it's going to get. That's where it's going to get done. More when you come down here, believe me, brother, I'm going to put you in the street, Mo. Didn't John the Baptist had to go in the street into
going to the market.
through the marketplace,
He had
man.
to go to the marketplace.
Oh, he went there through the marketplace, man.
That's right.
And this is where we have got to go, where they are, and make sense of the world to them, Mo. And that because that's what it's all about, Sheik.
In August, Sheik, you know what? Me and one of the Moors, we would go up in the hospitals and just go up into the trauma units and the ICUs and talk to the people that was sitting up in there, the gunshot victims, go down in the waiting rooms and talk to the families who was just sad. And that whole experience.
Mo, you saying that to me makes me say this to you. Purify your heart and mind with love. So when you go into those trauma units again, you can speak health, you can touch and heal people. Are you following me, Mo? This is what I'm talking about. We have the ability. This is what I'm talking about when you spoke about the mind in your introduction. The mind. We got to be able to heal these people, man, by word as well as by touch. I mean, we get 8 resurrections, dead people in the Bible that's spoken of that, so we can do it. Jesus speak about disappearing. These are the things that we need to do. We need good, moral, clean, upright people to go in these hospitals. First of all, heal ourselves. Physician, heal thyself. And secondly, when the physician tell me and you that we got this and we got that, we come right along and heal them. By touch, by word, because the prophet is just that strong, Mo. We can believe enough in him. It's in our Holy Quran. All we got to do is stop doubting and believe it ourselves. And the whole thing is to live it, and carry it out, Mo. I may not do it, you may not do it because it will cost it will cost a lot more for you to do it. But there are people clean enough, moral enough out here, Moorish Americans, and some of the children that you're making reference to, that can learn these lessons and go in these hospitals, and heal our people. I did a ministry, man, years ago, Mo, and I was a soldier. I was soldiering one of the Grand Sheiks to a facility here in Washington, D.C. And Mo, and I was young. And what I saw, the condition of our people, man, what first thing that came across my mind was, what karma were they paying up to be in this condition? Please forgive me, family, for saying this. Please, I'm just trying to teach a lesson, make reference. And what karma were they paying up? Then I thought, I want to come out of here. I want to come back one day, and these very same people or somebody near, and be able to touch them and be able to speak to them. This is why when I was up there in Carbondale, I spoke to one of the sisters and I told her to do something. Every time she thought, I think she's in Tennessee, every time she think, to whisper a prayer. I tell people all the time that got babies and sisters and brothers, people that have problems that they can't solve of themselves, but they're here trying to solve them problems before Allah takes them where they can solve it best. I tell them to pray. I tell them to whisper this prayer in their hearts, in their minds, to whisper it every day, all day. I can't do it, but the prayer, the sincerity, the power, the influence of this prayer, the Moorish American prayer, is what can make the difference when you go in there. I have go in there, brothers and sisters that I know, Mo, that on their deathbed. I go in there and I turn off the TV, turn off the radio, fragrance the air, and I whisper that Moorish American prayer and see them leave, close their eyes in peace and trusting in Allah, and because they can't solve the problem here, then you gotta go where you can solve the problem. Our brothers and sisters been going through some things, Mo.
I know.
And I know you'll come to know when people are on their deathbed and when they're going to get up. Mm-hmm. And that's how you carry, Mo. But this is what we need. This is where we want to be in, Mo. We want to be able to talk to our people, speak to our people, and heal our people, man. And it takes a pure mind. It's prophet say that the hands, are they not magical? Are they not magic, a mystery of power? They are, Mo. All of that, man. Right. We just don't believe in it. We just use them to punch somebody or chop somebody. That's all we do use them for, Mo. But these hands, our hands are so much of a wonder that we should be eating with them, as opposed to eating with forks and all these foreign objects, man-made stuff. That's how much of a wonder our hands are, and our thoughts are, and the clothes that we wear, all that we influence people with, all that we inspire in people, and that's where we need to be, Mo, to that point. Then we are truly, truly doing a whole lot, individually as well as a group, and making our people well, Mo. So
Islam.
It's and getting our children. I mean, I was up in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, not too long really, and the young Moors up there making music. Lewis Hill and Brother Terrence Hopkins Bay.
Yeah.
And Smith is. Well, anyway, I mean, Mo, this music is inspiring. For all this, I got it to my family, my Asiatic family down here. And Mo, I have Asiatic children too. I got 3 Muslim children. I got 2 Asiatic children. In other words, 2 was born in Islam, 3 was born in Islam, and 2 weren't born in Islam. And I give it to them all. I give them the music. And Mo, they love it, Mo. There's no cussing.
When I was up in when I was in lockdown in the Discipline Crips, I was up there in Allenwood, Pennsylvania, and the Sheik Clarence Hopkins Bay. He used to bring them up to the they came up there every month. They was there on for Sunday school, and then during the month of Ramadan, Hopkins Bay would come up every day by himself, and he would come up. And he was, and we would demonstrate. All praise be to Allah. I was Grand Sheik there for like 3.5 years, and they would bring their CDs,
That's right. There you go.
And the whole and everybody, the whole institution, like you said, was inspiring.
Yeah, Mo.
You know, they would hear these Moors demonstrate these lessons. Would you like no profanity? You know, they on these beats spitting. You hear me? They getting down on these beats. I'm telling you. So if you like hip hop, you out there, man. The Moors is making music. I'm telling you, they making music. They making good music. You just reminded me because it had slipped my mind, shit. Because that already been about 10. It's been about 10, 11 years since I left there.
Wow, Mo, that just reminds us how the possibilities that we have, Mo.
That's right.
You know, to heal our people. We got music, you know, to soothe the savage beast. We have words that improve our society. We have all of these wonderful health, you know, to improve our souls. You know, so I mean, we have all these wonderful things, but I'm looking for you young Moors that are clean and pure, you know, to do the work. I'm looking for you all to come. First of all, clean yourselves up, learn your lessons, and help the prophet uplift our people, man. But it starts with you. It starts with you want to be. Don't be like John the Baptist. Stay in school 18 years and then come out and get yourself in trouble. But be like Jesus. You know, walk the burning sands, man. When he was glad to get to Egypt and all was well, man, because the distance that he came on. Yeah, Mo. Yeah.
That's what Sunday school, Sheik. Oh, this was Sunday school today, Sheik.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
You know, we talked about this. You know, in infancy, the vow for you was made that you become a brother Nazarite. He didn't ask for it.
That's right, Mo.
You know, he was obedient to it.
That's right.
You know, but the prophet Jesus, you know, he had to go in there. He had to be obedient in order to take that next step. You know, the Hierophant had the question for him.
That's right, Mo.
You know, he kind of stroked him a little bit, and he wanted to see though, was he prepared to take that next step, modesty?
Wow.
You know, was he going to be humble? Because he went there, he say, teacher of the teachers.
Wow.
But I didn't come here to be the teacher. I came here to be the pupil.
Wow.
I'm a student. You know, he went to Maurice, right?
That's right, Mo. You gonna go there?
This was Sunday school. Though. This was Sunday school. Shit, this was today.
Yeah, Mo.
This was just today.
Wow. Yeah, and the first rung on that ladder is obedience, Mo.
Obedience.
First rung.
The first one. That's right.
You know these laws. Don't be like Adam. Don't be like Eve. Allah tell you the Lord, Prophet O'Drelly tell you the law. More Scientific America tell you the law. Your Grand Sheik tell you the law, and then you listen, and then you listen to that other voice. You know, and then become disobedient. That should tell you the consequences of being disobedient, brothers and sisters. More, you know, you have the prophet here telling you anything outside of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is not Noble Drew Ali. It is not the Moorish Science Temple of America. Pray Allah, it is not your Grand Sheik, Grand Sheikas. It is something else telling you something other than love your brother, tell the truth to your brother, have peace with your brother, be free to love your brother, and justice is seeing us all equal. Be equal, not above your brother, below your brother, but equal to your brother, because we all do the same thing. We all eat, sit on the commode, we all bathe, we all have temple breath.
temple breath.
Yeah, we all have these things, man. You know, so that means that we're equal, Mo, and this is what we need to do, man. You know, so Sheik, I'm gonna be praying and praying Allah help us in that desire to go out and get our young brothers and sisters. But in the meantime, man, let us start at home. Let us start with individuals. You know, don't be afraid to go into a home. You as a Grand Sheik, you as a minister, you as who you are, have race pride, and more importantly, have Moorish pride. Islam. Don't be afraid to go into a home that needs you and talk to your brother and your sister. Because if she's in trouble, you can't forsake her. If he's in trouble, you got to assist him. So if you need to go into a door, go in their home, go in there, help them out. They can't do it on their own, they need a little help. You going in there unselfishly, you going in there not being paid other than by Allah and the Prophet. So go in there and help them, man. You know, defraud Allah, not for he payeth thee. So Mo, just do it that way. And I pray again that I didn't intellectualize your question, Mo. I pray Allah put some substance to it, some meaning to it, some definition to you going to get, we going to get our brothers and our sisters, our children out this world. Because the world, the God of the world out there, Mo, he's mean, Mo. He got a gun, he packing iron, he's packing knife, and not only that, but he got that dragon calling us all kinds of names. He got that dragon voice.
Yeah.
He calls us all kinds of names to put us on the defense, to make us go as low as he is, or to take our self-respect from us, take our Moorish pride. So she got pray Allah that I haven't intellectualized your demonstration here. And I want to thank you for inviting me on. And maybe we can do it again.
Oh, we will. You know, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna hit you. You know, I'm gonna hit you up. Hey, Sheik, you ready? You are. And you know what? Especially since you always say yes. Islam, Sheik. Okay. I know you fishing to get ready to go and get you some rest. Sheik, go ahead, get you some rest. I'm finna sit here. I'm gonna talk to the people for a little while. You know, because you said some things, Mo. You know, you said some things, Sheik. Trust me.
I tell them all the love them, appreciate them, and thank you, Mo.
Islam, Sheik, I will.
All right, peace and love.
Peace and love, Sheik. Okay. Islam. Man, when I tell the Moors that it is a blessing and an honor for us to have, you know, ones among us like the Sheik Sage, pray to ear. Clarence, pray to ear. And when I tell you, I'm telling you, Moors. I'm telling you, Moors. Everybody who know that Sheik right there, they know Allah is good. Islam. I'm gonna spend a few more minutes here because the Sheik he talked about the God of this world. All right. He talked about the God of this world. He talked about the idol worshiping that goes on, you know, amongst our people. You know, he talked about that. And I want to expound a little more on it, you know. So, like we said in our 101s, you know, the prophet Jesus, you know, while he was on the cross, he said, "It is finished." And the prophet Noble Ali comes and he asks us a question. Well, what he had reference to? He had reference to the end of Satan. And then the prophet says, well, was Satan to be bound then? And then he tells us something that we need to pay very close attention to. He says that Satan was to be bound in part. Satan was to be bound in part. So he has not been completely bound, but he is bound in part. Now I want to paint a picture for us. All right. I got something I want us to take a look at what's going on here. All right. So let's say you got two fighters. They're in the ring. You know, one is in one corner and the other one is in the other corner, and the referee is in the middle of the ring, and the bell rings. Ding, 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 ding. And the two fighters come running out to meet in the middle of the ring to have this fight. All right. But see, this one of them fights where the referee, when he did like this, he turned around, he got him out the ring because this is the fight to the death. You see, lives is on the line. But one of these jokers come running out to the middle of the ring with one hand tied behind his back. Okay? One of these jokers is bound in part. One of his hands is tied behind his back when he runs out to meet his opponent in the middle of the ring. Listen. In our heads, we like, hey, man, he fixing to get ready and get beat up. He got one hand. He out there, man, he fixing to get ready and get beat up. And the exact opposite happens. He starts giving it to this guy who has two hands free. He gets to giving it to him. This is what's happening to us right now. Satan, bound in part, one hand tied behind his back, he giving it to us. See, the prophet Noble Ali, he explains this to us. He say,
He says, well, what title does Satan give himself? God. This is the title that he gives himself. He said, I'm God. And then he bound up and he beating us up and he trying to beat us into submitting to him and acknowledging that he's God. He's kicking our butt with one hand behind his back. Listen. The only reason why he is winning is because we are not bringing to bear against him everything that we got to bring to bear against him. Remember, we have the strength of the true and living God alive in us. That's what we got in us. But see, we'll forget that. We get to idol worshiping. You know, we get to worshiping all these other things. We get to submitting and serving all these other things, like the Sheik was talking about. I know because I've done it. I've done it. We not sitting here up here high and mighty speaking down to a lowly people trying to tell you, man, you just don't understand. You making all these mistakes. You calling yourself this, that, and the third while you doing this, that, and the third. No, we speaking on the level here. We on the level. We talking about our own experience, our own behavior, idol worshiping. That's what we talking about. All right. I went down to Baltimore in February this year. I went down there and visited the temple number 13 too. I went down there and visited the sheiks. I got to press the hands of all these good sheiks, sheik assistant. Man, Prather, he not lying, bro. That's man, he telling you the truth. You talk about boots on the ground. The Moors out there in their community. All right. You know, we doing what we can. You know, I come from somewhere, man. I came out of the dismal Crips. I come out of prison. I've been gone for a long time. I've been gone for a long time. I'm 40. I'm about to be 45 years old coming up in June. And I spent about 25 of them years in prison. 20 years, 3 months, and 24 days straight. And another 5 years just going and coming back. Constantly messing up, constantly suffering the consequences of my own poorly made, uneducated decisions. My own poorly made, uneducated decisions. All right. So when I come out here to this world, you know, it's so different. You know, everything, it looks different. The energy is different. The vibe is different, you know, but I'm also different because I got the Prophet. The Prophet has become a part of my life. Islam is my life. All right. So I've been doing this work on myself. Okay. So I come out here, you know, I made it a point to do everything that I could to prepare myself. You know, so I come out here and you know, you walk out with no material, like the material things, you know, that people think they need, and people that people actually need. You know, you walk out here, you ain't got that. You got to come out here and you got to go get it. You got to come out. You got to get a job. You know, you got to start learning the landscape. You know, learning what's going on around. For me, especially because I come out to live in a world and to live a life that I have never, ever experienced, all right? I've never experienced the life of a citizen. I've never experienced that life. I was always a drug dealer or a gangbanger. I did not participate in being legitimate at all. You know, I didn't work a job. I didn't pay no taxes. I didn't do any of that. You understand me?
I sold dope and I smoked a bunch of weed, drank a ton of alcohol, and just did, like the Sheik said, everything that harms. So now I'm coming out here to live and be a part of society, something that I have never done before. So the good thing is that I don't have to unlearn anything because I never experienced it. I have nothing to unlearn. All I have to do is learn. All right. Good thing that I mastered learning. I didn't master knowing, but I mastered learning. All right. Master learning. I humble myself. I'm humble. I'm humble. You got something to teach me? Teach me. My eyes is open. My ears is open. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. All right. I understand that. I understand, what a hard head will get you. I understand what a hard head will get you. I understand what being obstinate will get you. The Holy Quran says that the wise man doubteth often and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubteth not. See, I understand this. All right. I understand that if I keep on walking this way, there's a wall here. Now, if I bump into this wall the first time, why am I going to keep on walking and bumping into this wall? This wall ain't going nowhere. And I'm spending my time constantly walking into this wall. So now I'm not going nowhere. So I understand that I have to sometimes change my mind, and I'm prepared to do so. This is one of the principles of learning. Be prepared to change your mind. All right. Also, understand that love and hate are real things. Love and hate are real things. Okay? They real. People love you and people hate you. You either love you or you hate you. These are real things. And sometimes we do not stop, be still, and look at the people around us and really ask ourselves, do they love us or do they hate us? Now, let's not confuse this with they upset us or they make us happy. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the reality, love or hate. And you also need to be still and ask yourself, do I love me or do I hate me? And remember this, that a pair of lips will say anything. So you sit there and you take an assessment of what you do to you. Take an assessment. Analyze the things that you do to yourself. How do you treat yourself? What do you feed yourself? How do you talk to people? How do you talk to yourself? When your mouth and your lips are not moving, and there's a conversation between you and you going on in your head, is it a bunch of profanity? Is it a bunch of vulgar images going by your mind's eye? Because if it is, chances are you hate you. We need to know. We really need to know. Because I bear witness that I spent years committing myself to a self that was hating me and people who was hating me. The Sheik Prather just talked about, utilizing muscles. Say, man, Sheik, and all praise due to Allah. I'm healthy.
But when I was a young person, I wasn't so healthy. I wasn't so healthy. I had heart problems, asthma, all types of stuff. Self-induced. This is self-induced. This came from all of the doggone smoking and the foul and vile thoughts that I was just allowing. Because we allow this, okay? We allow these thoughts to keep on just rummaging through our mind. We allow them. And the saddest part is when we know it, when we feel it, and we still allow it to stay there. Change your mind. Your mind is yours. You can change it when you want to. I'm not just saying this, man. You can change it when you want to. It's yours. Paradigm shift in the podcast. Paradigm shifting the podcast. Our perspective, our worldview needs a little shift. All right. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that a member's interest can be in only one direction. In one direction. I struggle with it. I struggle with it. But the Quran says that man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. So truth and falsehood are conjoined in him, and then they strive. So the struggling that we do is prescribed. All right? Because it says, and naught goes down in man as truth abides. So there is there's a reason for this striving or this struggling that's taking place. Okay. I hope the Moors and the listeners, I hope and pray that we understand that, you know, if you my age got children and grandchildren, this is about empowering the future, awakening young Moorish Americans, awakening them. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he called us a sleepy-headed Moors, sleepy-headed. He said, wake up, you sleepy-headed Moors. Can't you see? You are a people. You are a people. Civilized people, not barbaric people, not savages, not gang, not thug, not female dog, not hater, slanderer, murderer, thief. That's not what you are. The Holy Quran says that the nature in which Allah had created man is Islam. Some people find that difficult to accept, especially nowadays with all of the misinformation and the propaganda machine that's on these same platforms where I'm talking to you right now. Some people gonna listen to this, they're gonna watch this, they're gonna say, well, who's to say that your way is the best way? I'm gonna say that my way is the best way for me. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, we do not believe, nor do we teach that our way is the only way. Allah is not that mean. Allah is all mercy. He is all God. He ain't gonna leave no one out. So the words of life will be communicated to everyone in a language that they can comprehend. And maybe I can't comprehend that language that you hear the words of life in. Maybe. I'm not going to be vain enough to say. And I want to warn you, listeners, if somebody do say that their way is the only way, if somebody do say that Allah only speaks their language, or whatever they call their God, whatever they call it, Allah has many names. All right? If somebody tell you that Allah only speaks their language, that their way is the only way, I'm telling you now, run from them. You better get away from them, especially if they sound good while they telling that lie. You better get away from them. Because if you stand there too long, you're going to start to believe them. And believe me, you could get tricked. You could get tricked. When the Quran informs us about the time that Jesus spent in the wilderness, being when he was alone with himself and he had that talk with himself, he said, my Lord's self is strong. By many times I am bound down to carnal life. Have I the strength to give my life a willing sacrifice for the sons of men? And then the tempter came. All right. See, the tempter realized that the master was struggling. He was struggling with moving forward with his mission for a little while because he knew that the public was going to be unstable and ungrateful. So he had to ask himself, because see, he didn't know how much time he was going to be spending, doing this work for his father. He didn't know. All he knew was that he was going to be spending the rest of his life doing it. At least the rest of his life here on earth. So he asked himself a valid question. Have I the strength to give my life a willing sacrifice for the sons of men? Because they gonna be unstable and they gonna be ungrateful. And then the tempter came. And what did the tempter do? The tempter tempted him to, instead of using all of the lessons that he had received from Mary, his mother, the lessons that the degrees that had been conferred upon her by Elihu and Salome, the lessons that he received when he walked with his father as a carpenter, the lessons that he had received in Maurice, in the temple at Capovistu, while walking the Plaza Jaganos, all of these degrees that he had received, the tempter tempted him to use these degrees to connive the people. He told him, look at these. If you would give yourself to these, then all of this will be yours. He told me, look at the word. If you would give yourself to these, if you would just take yourself away from your mission to the sons of men. Go out, man, you talk good. You could talk your tail off. You're super knowledgeable. You know what they want to hear. So just go out and say what they want to hear. Don't tell them, don't try to tell them the truth. They ain't going to be grateful. They're not going to receive it well anyway. Just go out there and say and do what they want to hear said and what they want to see you do, and the world will be yours. That's what the tempter tempted the master to do. But he prevailed. His higher self, his higher ego prevailed. Well, a lot of people on these spectrum, they done gave in, man. They done gave in. They saying what individuals want to hear, doing what y'all want to see them do. And to them, it's just a job. They don't care that they corrupting you. They don't care that they feeding you falsehood. They don't care that children are listening. They do not care. All they care is that they get that check from YouTube, Facebook, TikTok,
Instagram, and whatever makes that check the fattest, that's what they keep on saying and doing. I had ones tell me when I first got ready to start Paradigm Shifting the podcast, they were telling me all type, man, Mo, you should talk about this. You should talk about that. Man, that's what the people want to hear. Man, ain't nobody gonna tune in and try to listen to nobody, man, to listen to you, talk about the, the truth and stuff. You got to start talking about sovereignty and rebelling against the government and all that other stuff. Man, I'm not talking about that crap because I don't believe it. I don't eat swine ain't gonna feed it to you. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I'm not gonna give you no cigarette. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? But they do it. They do it. Islam, Sheik. Praise Allah. Honest to the Prophet. Honest to you too, Sheik. Thank you. Thank you, Sheik. Yeah, Maurice, we got to be strong. We got to be strong. All of us have had our stumbles and our fumbles, and that's all a part of the unfolding process. That's all a part of the process of us unfolding. We were not made manifest. The seed must be deeply rooted into a soil of soul where it might grow and unfold as does the bud unfold to show the flower. That's what we got to do. That's what we doing. And all the time, while we are solving these life sums, you know what it does? What did the prophet Jesus say? It prepares us to be able to succor our brothers and sisters when they are in need and going through the same things that we have already went through. And then be wise enough and open-minded enough to know that there are people who have went through some things and are going through some things that you can't even imagine. That you can't even imagine. Just this weekend, just over the course of the last couple of months, I have seen suffering unlike I have ever seen suffering. I have learned that people who I know and love have been put through things that no people should ever have to deal with. I mean, it humbled me. It humbled me. This is what's going on. And a lot of these people that are going through these things that I'm telling you is so harsh and so hard and so difficult to deal with are our young people. Very young people. And these things will have a lasting impact on them for the remainder of their life. It could be a blessing or it could be a curse. Some of them will be empowered by the things they suffer today, but some of them will be broken and hurt adults in the future who will be breaking and hurting people. Hurt people, hurt people. My nephew told me that today. Yep. He shared that degree with me today. Empowering the future. I'm going to ask everyone, if you have babies or babies around you, if you could look at them right now, I want you to look at them right now. I want you to turn to them right now. And I want you to look at them right now. And then I want you to ask yourself, are you doing those things right now that will empower them for their future. If your answer is not a definitive yes, now I'm going to challenge you to ask yourself, do you hate them or do you love them? Allah is the Father of the universe, Maurice. Peace and love.
All right? Now that goes against everything that you've been taught your whole life. Everything you've been taught your whole life. You've been taught that you think with your mind. But in the Quran, it talks about what the mind does. Think about some of the things the Quran says about the mind. Jesus said, let us forget the body. He said, let us forget the flesh and go with mind. And go with mind. So therefore, he is identifying that the mind is a vehicle that we could use to transcend boundaries, that we could use to transcend time and space. So when the Prophet Muhammad, he talked about going from Mecca to Jerusalem and back to Mecca in one night, the night's journey. How did he travel? He said he traveled on an animal called Barak, and this animal in one stride, he moves as far as his eyes could see at the speed of thought. At the speed of thought, he was traveling with the mind. You understand what I'm saying? What else did he say about the mind? He said, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind. So he's telling us that there is a workshop in the mind. And he's saying where we build up thought. He said where things are made of thought and where we build up character. Now he's telling us what we're supposed to be doing in the workshop, but that's not what you have to do because your mind is yours. You can change it when you want to.